Thank you for tuning in. Today I just wanted to mention to you the chocolate chip starfish that I have. It's been a very interesting add to our fish tank. I have a saltwater 72-gallon bow front tank. That is it right there. And this is a chocolate chip starfish. Gets its name basically because the body, it looks like little chocolate chips. And I wanted to make this very simple to show you all pretty much what you would commonly see on a starfish. It will linger around the tank majority of the times in the center. Very rarely, sometimes you see it on the bottom, but it will glide and it does attach itself to every single surface. It's great when it goes onto the rocks because it takes up all the diatom that's on your tanks and on the surfaces. And the center is where it feeds itself. So what normally occurs for you to know when your starfish is hungry, it'll usually make its way up to your tank and it'll kind of hover over. Well, I'll show you in a few because I'll be feeding it. So when it kind of digests, I think it's starting actually the process now. So it's great that I just picked up this video. You're gonna start seeing like a film kind of happening here in the center. And then all of this is going to go green. When I believe the starfish is asleep is when you see all of this very tightened up. You see it tightened and it looks like a line. You don't see all of the tiny suctions. And I'll stay recording this way you can see what is occurring now. You'll probably see the starfish do this several times, especially after it's eaten. But what's gonna occur is this is gonna look green. All of this is gonna cover all of the suctions as it spreads, and it's gonna look kind of greenish. I tell you, my sister and I, we've learned, and we're like, oof, there's a very weird creature of the sea, but we've learned, and we basically feed it every 2 to 3 days. And like I explained, it'll go up to the surface. It does not go to air. Remember, if air hits the starfish, it'll immediately die because starfish do not have good respiratory. So it cannot be exposed to air. But what it does is that it goes up to the tank and it puts its body like halfway out, not out of the water, but it kind of lays on the water, and I'll show you. And that is when it's time to feed. That's normally how they request food, and that is also how they look towards the bottom of the tank, because this is where the vision is. So as I've been talking to you, you've seen this spread. It's not the best kind of features. I prefer this to be done when it's in the back end of the tank, because I honestly do not enjoy seeing this. But it does this quite frequent, and it's part of their process. And again, like I said, when they kind of are asleep or inactive, this becomes like a line. You will not see all of those little suctions. It kind of shrinks up. So as you see there, you kind of see how that green has spread, and nothing stays on the glass. So it all gets pulled right back in. This is just a couple of seconds after, so you can see where it all spreads. You see how this all spreads, and you don't see the suctions as clear anymore. It looks as if they're not even there. So after this occurs, it'll all shrink up, and it'll look just as it did when I started the video. Normally the starfish will go climb up to the tank and it'll flip itself backwards like so. And that is when normally it's hungry and asking for food. What I do is that I give it a nice piece of food. There you can see the starfish. You see how it starts then kind of the little suctions tentacles start moving, and it starts moving its food to its center. So right now, what it's doing is, there's the piece that I gave it, and it's basically taking it to the center. That is where it feeds, in the center. But this is a really good, nice and clear picture of what occurs. It's moving it, and it basically moves it to its mouth, and that's how I feed it. So basically, just know, they normally are fed every 2 to 3 days. I give it shrimp. They like krill. But see, I'm always watching it because this food can easily float away, and then the fish get it. That's why they're kind of moving around thinking that they're gonna be fed, but they've been fed already. But I have to be cautious because if this leaves, then the fish just take it and it's about to float away. But that's how I feed the starfish, and it takes time to basically take it in, and it feeds it right, it takes it right in the center. So right there you see that the starfish has the food right in the center where it's basically consuming it. It'll take a while, and then it'll attach itself to the glass again and kind of provide like a suction, and it'll consume it. So because that chunk, that's what it eats, you can give it, I think, anything, shrimp, clam, and then if you don't have these type of foods, they'll consume the foods that kind of drop on the bottom, but I usually feed the fish just to where there's not an excess. And this will take a while, so I just wanted to let you guys know, this is how you know your starfish is basically needs to be fed. It'll go to the top and it'll just lay back. And there it is. So that'll take a while. And if you have one, very easy to maintain, and you'll kind of find the process very interesting. It's very different, very interesting, and you see how all the little tentacles are just active. And when they lean back, they say that they're kind of getting a view of the tank too. So, but I'm comfortable with the way it is right now since the food has made its way to the center. And feed it in 3 days when it asks for food yet again.